Ever looked out at a forest or a garden and just wondered, how on earth does everything get its own name? It's a huge, complicated puzzle, right? Well, in this explainer, we're going to dive into how science brings order to all that beautiful chaos with the little crash course in taxonomy.
I mean, just look at it. Our planet is just covered in this sprawling, gorgeous, and honestly kind of overwhelming variety of plants. It's like a giant library where someone's tossed all the books on the floor. It's magnificent, for sure, but it's also a total mess.
So, yeah, how do you even start to organize that? How do you find one specific book in that massive, messy library, let alone catalog the whole thing? That's the challenge we're going to tackle.
To solve this exact problem, a whole new branch of science was created, one that's all about making sense of nature's incredible diversity. And that science is called taxonomy. You can think of it as humanity's grand attempt to create a universal filing system for nature itself, to identify, name, and classify every single living thing on Earth.
But here's the real key. Taxonomy isn't just about slapping a label on a plant and calling it a day. It's about organizing them into groups based on features they share. It's really a science of relationships. But coming up with a system that actually worked? Oh, that took a long, long time. It was a true scientific quest for order that unfolded over centuries. The early attempts were, well, they were pretty basic. More than 2,000 years ago, Aristotle just split everything into two big buckets, plants and animals. Simple enough. The Romans built on that a little bit, but things were still pretty chaotic. It wasn't until the 1700s that we got a real breakthrough. And that breakthrough came from this guy, Carolus Linnaeus. He was a Swedish naturalist who came up with a system so elegant and so effective that scientists are still using its core ideas all over the world today. He really changed everything. So what was this game-changing idea? Let's take a closer look at his brilliant and, surprisingly simple system.
He called it the binomial system. Bi means two, nomial means name. A universal, two-name system in Latin that gives every single organism its own unique scientific identity. No more confusion, doesn't matter what language you speak.
Okay, the easiest way to wrap your head around this is to think of it just like a person's name. The first part, the genus, is like a family's last name. It groups together all the close relatives. The second part, the species, is like a person's first name. It pinpoints the specific individual within that family group. And this is where you see just how powerful it is. We might call it rice, but a botanist anywhere in the world will know it as Oryza sativa. A potato is Solanum tuberosum. One plant, one name, everywhere. It's just a beautifully simple solution. But that two-part name? That's really just the very end of the line, the most specific part of a plant's address. It actually sits at the bottom of a much bigger hierarchy, kind of like a ladder of life. Okay, picture it like this. Scientists start way up at the top with the broadest category possible, the kingdom. So for plants, that's kingdom plantae. Then with each step you take down, phylum, class, order, family, the groups get smaller and more specific until, bam, you land on the two we just learned about, genus and species. So how do scientists actually decide where a plant belongs on this ladder? Well, they look at its morphology, its physical parts. For a plant like this potato, every little detail matters. The shape of the leaves, the structure of the flowers, the roots, the seeds. Each feature is a clue to its identity. And today, of course, we can even analyze a plant's DNA to confirm those relationships with incredible precision. And that brings us right back to those two super important levels. Remember, a genus is a group where the members have a lot in common, but a species, that's even more specific. It's a subgroup where members share most of their features and can actually interbreed. Okay, I get it. This is all super fascinating for scientists, but why should the rest of us care? Why does giving a plant some fancy Latin name actually matter in the real world? Well, when it comes to the food we eat, it matters a lot. This idea from the source material is absolutely key. Knowing what family a crop belongs to is like having an owner's manual for it. It tells you how to care for it, and maybe more importantly, what problems to watch out for, because related plants often get hit with the very same challenges. So the real takeaway here is that taxonomy has huge practical benefits. It helps farmers predict what a plant needs to grow, identify pests that are likely to show up,
and track diseases that spread through a family. For example, knowing tomatoes and potatoes are in the same family helps us fight the same blight that threatens both of them. It is the universal language that underpins all of global agriculture and science.
So you see, at the end of the day, this whole system is about so much more than just coming up with names. It's a powerful tool for understanding the deep interconnected web of life and for seeing those family resemblances across the entire plant kingdom.
Which leaves us with one last, pretty provocative thought. We've developed this incredible system for identifying and understanding all the world's plants. But does having that knowledge also give us a greater responsibility to protect all that diversity? Definitely something to think about.